right. Today I want to talk about something that happened. I wouldn't say to me, but something that I witnessed recently. A few days ago, I was on my way home from work. Most of you probably know I'm a truck driver and I drive at night predominantly. On this particular night, I had gotten off work around 12:45 a.m. and I was heading home in my car. It's about a 30-minute drive to my house from where I work. And I'm driving along, just kind of, you know when you're driving and you're not like 100% dialed in, right? You're just kind of going through the motions. Driving is very monotonous for the most part, and especially at night when there's hardly any cars on the road. That's why a lot of people like fall asleep at the wheel and things like that. Like it's a thing, right? We're not super engaged all of the time that we're driving. We're thinking about things, etc., daydreaming, and kind of going through the motions mechanically with your body. But you notice things if they pop up, and a lot of times that's how it is. Now, maybe that's not how it should be. We should be more alert. Any defensive driving course is going to teach you they should always keep your eyes moving and looking ahead and checking your mirrors and all these things, right? But realistically, people just kind of drive, right? You drive, and if something pops up, you react to it. And I was driving home, and there was hardly any traffic. And I was on a major interstate, and it was coming up on the intersection with another interstate. So there's like a clover leaf. There's like on-ramp and off-ramps on both sides of the highway. And I'm driving my normal drive home, relaxed. And there's some traffic, but it's very light. And up ahead a ways, I know that there is a semi-truck and trailer, but it's not of extreme importance, right? It's just up there. It's there. I'm going to pass it here soon. It's maybe 100, 200 yards ahead of me at this point, and I'm nearing it. But like I said, it's kind of in my peripheral vision. It's like up and to the right. And all of a sudden, I just hear this massive bang, this massive, and it wasn't just a bang, it was an explosion. That truck that was kind of in my peripheral, up ahead a little bit, had just ran headfirst, full speed, into the beginning of a separation wall, like a median wall, a barrier, concrete barrier that separated, the exit ramp to get on the other highway from the road that we were on. And I've never seen anything like it. I've never witnessed anything like it. Usually when you see a car wreck or a truck accident in real life, it's not like it is in the movies, right? In the movies, there's like a massive explosion. There's like the car goes flipping through the air, This stuff does not normally happen in real life. Stuff does flip over, yes. Trucks do turn over quite often. They hit things, and normally even when you see two cars wreck into each other, there's like almost never an explosion, right? That's Hollywood shit. Well, this played out like a movie. It happened very fast, so I can't be like completely sure of all the details, but I know I heard the loud bang. I looked over and I saw the truck. Like there was an explosion, but it was like I didn't see the explosion. I heard the sound, and I saw the rear of the trailer. And then all of a sudden, though, this truck and trailer flipped onto its side. It kind of went up in the air. And as it did that, when it hit the concrete barrier, it actually hit with such force and it was probably going full speed, like 70 miles an hour. It hit with such force that the suspension and wheels stayed behind. They got caught on the concrete barrier as the truck it looked like it had hit a ramp. Literally went somewhat airborne, not the entire truck, but enough that it flipped the truck sideways, and the truck and trailer landed on its side, and it was in flames. It was literally at this point about 100 yards maybe ahead of me, and it was insane. It was just me and like maybe one other driver nearby, and it was another truck driver. And this thing, it was just so abrupt. It was unreal the way it happened. But yeah, you could see the explosion, and then you saw the truck land on its side, and then you saw flames. And you couldn't quite see with the angle that I was at. I was like behind the truck, but it was laying kind of diagonal across the highway on its side, and I could see that something was on fire up in the front area, but I couldn't actually see it with my own eyes yet. So I'm not going to lie to you. One of the first things I thought was like, and I felt terrible. One of the first things I thought is like, I should capture this on video. This is like insane. And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, I'm freaking out. I don't know exactly what to do, right? I'm like, something exploded. Should I run up to the truck? Is that a safe thing to do? Well, I decided that's what I'm going to do, right? I did not take my phone. I did not record anything. And the only reason I wish I had now is so that I could remember the details better, because it was such a like an adrenaline fueled moment or series of moments that I don't know if I'm remembering them all 100% accurately. Human memory is kind of whack. But I kind of jogged up to the cab of the truck. And as I was going up there was another guy walking up there, and he actually was recording it. So, of course in my head I'm like judgmental, like, what's this guy doing? Fucking like somebody could be hurt, but when I literally had the same thought and just thought better of it, like it's more important. Like first I'll see if I can help someone, or if anyone got out of the truck okay, or if someone's injured or something like that, or if any other car was involved, because you couldn't tell from this angle. But I'm like, and then, if everyone's out okay or whatever, then maybe get some footage of this crazy burning truck. But yeah, no, it was much worse than that. When I got up to the cab, like I said, it was turned sideways on the highway. So when I got up to the cab of the truck, it was just engulfed in flames. Like there was no, I knew instantly once I saw it that there is no way, if the person hadn't gotten out like immediately before I had gotten up there, there's no way that anyone survived that was inside that truck. It was intense, man. It was, and I just stood there, and I kind of stared at, like, if there was another guy there, and he goes, hey, did anyone get out of there? And I'm like, no, I didn't see anyone. And then he's like, oh shit, man. Like, then we both kind of ran up there. Then another guy stopped his truck and kind of ran. By that time, a couple cars had, come to the scene, but there was no paramedics or police or fire or anything on the scene. There was a helicopter flying overhead at this point, kind of getting footage, and I don't know if it was like a police helicopter or a news helicopter or what, but there was a helicopter, but it was just insane. It was just, I've never been first on an accident scene like that, and it was like scary, and it was like adrenaline fueled, and it was like I wanted to be able to do something. Like literally, I went up there scared to death, like, because like I said, there was an explosion and I don't know what I'm going to find. Is there going to be like a severely injured person? Am I going to know what to do if there is a severely injured person? Or like if the truck's on fire, like, am I going to be able to do anything? Am I going to witness someone burning to death? Like, it was just an intense feeling. And then when I got up there and realized that, like, if no one had gotten out, and I didn't think anyone had gotten out because there was no one standing around or laying around the scene or anything, I just knew, like, someone is in there and, they didn't survive. This person died, and the only thing I could think is, like, I hope that they died, instantly, like when the impact happened, and that they didn't die from being burned to death. I know this is morbid, I know, but along with just kind of telling this crazy story that I witnessed, I don't know, maybe I feel like it will help me to process it better. And I'm sure I'll bring it up, to a counselor, a therapist, or something like that. But, I haven't had that opportunity yet. But yeah, it was a little, like I said, it was a little traumatic. It's not, I hate saying that because it wasn't me that it happened to. And, it wasn't anyone that I know or related to, but just the intensity of the situation was extreme. And I stood there and, a mix of just like, what the hell did I just witness? And almost like morbid curiosity. Like, I stood there and I was watching this truck burn, and I wasn't alone. There was other people there, and it wasn't like they were gawking or anything. Like, we were just legitimately all just like, oh my God, like, is it possible that anyone got out of it? Is it, you don't know. There's a million thoughts running through your head, but they're all scary. And not only that, I'm a fucking truck driver. Like, that, it scared the shit out of me because of that. It's like, what happened? Did he fall asleep at the wheel? That's very likely. I mean, I've definitely felt like I'm dozing off at the wheel many times, and I've had to pull over and take naps to continue my drive. Always something that scared me, like, what if something happened? What if I didn't just doze off, like start to doze off, but actually fell asleep? Like, it's terrifying to think about, and then thinking about that this person probably had family, and it's been 2 days now, and then there hasn't been any info released, like what the investigation of the accident discovered, or whether it was a male or female driving, or it was just one person dead at the scene. And like I said, luckily I didn't see an actual body. I didn't see an actual person in there. But it was like, I almost, like I said, it was a morbid curiosity. It was almost like I just wanted to know. I just wanted to know if there was a person in there. There was no way for me to know. You couldn't actually see it. It was like, this thing was engulfed in flames. This was like backdraft. It was like, you could kind of see through the cab, and it felt like if there was someone in there, you should have been able to see their body in there, but I couldn't. There were so many flames. There was so much smoke. It was extreme. And, it felt like 30 minutes, but it must have been 5 minutes, maybe 10, that I was standing out there and just kind of like, and there was still little explosions going on, like inside the cab and around that, because the fuel tanks had ignited, and that's what happened here. Like, a spark ignited the fuel tanks or something, and it just exploded the entire cab. And yeah, all these thoughts are running through my head. Like, could anyone survive that? Maybe they were thrown from the vehicle. Am I going to see a charred dead body? I didn't know. I didn't know. And then all the thoughts about my own family. I'm like, what if this happened to me? And how sad that is for if this person had a family at home waiting, and likely they did. I thought about my own kids and my wife, and I don't know, just a lot of stuff was going through my head in that short period of time. And then the police started to arrive, the firefighters started to arrive, and I began to walk back to my car because, like the professionals are there now, and clearly there was no one that made it out of this accident alive. And, I just wanted to let the police and firefighters, paramedics, whoever, do their job. And so I walked back to my car. And this is just how I realized at the end just how close I was to this accident. Like, I was literally the first on the scene, because when I get back to my car, I realized my car, that all the police cars that were there were parked behind my car, like further back from the accident than I was. It was like the accident scene, my car, and then a bunch of police cars behind that. And I was just like, holy shit. Like, I really was the first person here. It was, maybe another guy at the exact same time, but like we were the first on the scene before any, it's not often that this happens, to someone, that they're the first on the scene before any paramedics. A lot of times you drive down the highway and you see a terrible accident, or you see you kind of see that there was a terrible accident, or a truck tipped over or flipped over, a car just destroyed. I see that all the time. I see accidents all the time. I even see accidents happen sometimes, but they're usually like quick and behind me, or like kind of beside me, and it's just too quick for me to stop. I'm like literally going 70 miles an hour, and a car next to me like wipes out or something. I've seen that a lot, but I've never seen a fatality accident firsthand and been the first person there on the scene. Like, if there was anything to do, I would have been the person who could have done it. But there was nothing to be done. There was nothing I could do. Even if a person had been in there and still been alive, the flames were too intense. I couldn't have gotten even close enough to it without being severely burned myself. So it's like, I don't know what I could have done, even if I could have done something, but just that feeling too of just like helplessness, like not being able to do anything, was intense. And so the police arrived, firefighters arrived, and I saw them start to, break out the fire hoses and stuff, and start to spray this thing. And I was like, okay, I should probably get out of here, There were plenty of other people there. I think the other guy that had gotten there at the same time could, and the police didn't ask me any questions. They saw me there, and they didn't ask me any questions, and so I didn't think I was needed. And I continued to make my way home. The cops guided me out of there, and led me to the off ramp, and away I went. Just took the long way home. But I just wanted to share that, not only because of just the craziness of it, but just to get my thoughts on it down, and to remember how it actually, to the best of my recollection, how it went down. Because, memories change and fade and do all kinds of crazy things over time. The more times you remember something. And they say that every time you remember something, you're actually not remembering the actual memory. You're remembering the last time you remembered the memory. So it's like a memory of the last time you thought of the memory. And that's how memory breaks down over time. Anyway, I wanted to get that, much like I do a lot of my stories about my youth and stories about me and my cousin and time we spent together. I like to get those down, either in writing or an audio or video format, just so that I have them kind of archived, and as the memories fade, I always have that to go back to. But that was a really intense moment, man. To the point that, my wife, she's very kind of sensitive and intuitive, and right away she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, it wasn't me. I didn't get the accident. She's like, that might be something that you need to process a little bit, you know, and rightly so. I think that's true, and I think this might be a part of how I do that, because I do, you know, consider myself some sort of storyteller, and I think that's a way that I process things and work through things, is to kind of get it all out and archive it, and almost like I can just set that here, like I know that it happened, and I put it aside, and just working my way through it, through my memory of it. And like I said, probably not all I'll do. I'm sure I'll bring it up in therapy. May do some EMDR. If you don't know what that is, I've done plenty of videos on EMDR. You can go back and check those out. But it's just a form of therapy where you reprocess memories, especially like traumatic memories and things like that, so that they're not as so they don't affect your life as much, if they're affecting your life at all. And sometimes they do in subconscious ways, and you don't know that. So reprocessing that memory so that it's a memory of something that happened and not something that's constantly happening in your head on a loop, in the background. Anyway, I would say, you know, I was going to say, like, oh, I hope if you enjoyed this story, but no, clearly it's not something to enjoy. But it was cathartic for me, and I hope you got something out of it. Like I said, I don't know exactly what happened. Maybe I'll do an update if I find out, but he could have fallen asleep. He could have been texting. Who knows? Who knows what happened? He could have had a heart attack and lost control. And I almost hope that that's the case, like, and that maybe is what took his life and not the end result of that crash, because that's a terrible way to go out. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you think, and hey, man, if you've had experiences like this, or maybe you need to process some things, man, just put it in the comments, man. Like, I'll read it, I'll listen, whatever. I mean, I don't know. Either way, I like to interact with people. If you're listening to this or watching this, then please, you can leave a comment. Like I said, if you can relate in any way, let me know about that. And then also, if you're listening in podcast form, you can reach out on Instagram or Twitter and hit me up over there at Real Brett Scott, and talk to me there about it too. Wherever, man, send me a message. It's all good. Like I said, maybe you need to process some things. Let it out, man. Let it out. I'll read it. I'll hit you back. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Like I said, not a fun story like I normally tell in any way, but a story, something that happened in my life nonetheless. So until next time, please subscribe to the channel. I promise you, most of my videos are not morbid like this. I mostly talk about entertainment and pop culture. It's much more lighthearted than this. But every once in a while, I gotta mix in some real life stuff. You know, I treat this somewhat like a video diary or a podcast diary of sorts, as well as my place to talk about the things that I love and enjoy. So if you're into that sort of thing, please subscribe to the channel. And check out some of my other stories, you know, ones that maybe aren't so devastating. And until next time, thanks for listening.